Welcome to Wisdom Words, a quiet space to slow down and think deeply. Here, we explore timeless lessons about life, peace, and purpose, one story at a time. So, take a moment, breathe in, and let's begin. The hidden strength of silence. Have you ever noticed that some of the most powerful moments in life don't come with noise? They don't arrive with loud applause, bright lights, or big announcements. Often, they come quietly. A late-night walk. A morning sunrise. A moment alone when you finally hear your own thoughts. Sometimes, silence speaks louder than words. Pause. But in a world full of distractions, opinions, and constant notifications, silence almost feels unusual. We fill every moment with sound or activity because stillness feels uncomfortable. What if someone calls? What if we miss something? What if we have to face our own thoughts? Yet silence is not emptiness. It is space. Space for clarity. Space for healing. Space to understand ourselves again. Silence is not the absence of life, it is the beginning of it. Silence is where real thinking happens. It is where clarity lives. It is where the mind resets. Scientists say the brain actually organizes and strengthens memory when we are quiet. Ancient philosophers believed silence is where wisdom is born. And today, in a world of noise, silence might be one of the most valuable skills we can practice. Silence allows us to shift from reaction to reflection. From chaos to clarity. From pressure to peace. The monk and the visitor. There's an old story about a monk who lived in the mountains. One day, a traveler came to visit him, hoping to learn the secrets of inner peace. The monk greeted him with a warm smile and offered him tea. As the monk poured tea into the traveler's cup, he continued pouring even after the cup was full. The tea spilled everywhere. "Stop," the traveler said. "The cup is already full." The monk gently replied, "Yes. Just like your mind." The monk then walked outside and sat quietly. The traveler followed and asked, "What should I do to find peace?" The monk pointed to the open sky and said, "When the mind is full, it cannot receive anything new. Sit in silence. Empty your cup. Let the noise settle. Only then will you understand." The traveler stayed with the monk for several days. They barely spoke. But when he left, he said, "I didn't find peace here. I remembered it." Reflection. Maybe silence does not teach us something new. Maybe it helps us rediscover what we already know deep inside. Think about it. When was the last time you sat quietly, not because you were tired, but because you wanted to listen? Do you give yourself time to think? What thoughts have you been avoiding? What feelings have you pushed away simply because there was no space to face them? Silence is not empty. It is full of answers. Smooth transition to next chapter. In the next chapter, we'll explore how silence helps us make better decisions, recover from emotional stress, and find direction when life feels confusing. Because sometimes, before moving forward, we need to pause. Let's continue. When life feels loud. There are moments when life becomes noisy even without a single sound. Deadlines, decisions, opinions, expectations. Stress is its own kind of noise. It fills the mind the same way crowded rooms fill air. In those moments, silence isn't just calming. It becomes necessary. Silence is not avoidance. It is navigation. When you step back and go quiet, you give your thoughts a chance to line up instead of crashing into each other. You give your heart a chance to speak. You give truth a chance to be heard. Silence helps us see the path clearly. When we're stressed or overwhelmed, we often react quickly. We rush, decide impulsively, or get stuck. But when we pause, when we slow down, the next step becomes clear. Silence turns confusion into direction. Pressure into perspective. Fear into understanding. This is why many successful leaders, creators, and thinkers schedule quiet time every day. Not because they are antisocial, but because they understand this. You cannot make clear decisions with a noisy mind. The two painters. There were two artists preparing for an important exhibition. One spent hours every day painting, sketching, trying different styles. He barely slept. He believed hard work alone would bring genius. The other artist also worked hard, but every afternoon he would stop. He would go to a quiet lake and sit in silence without drawing anything. People said he was wasting time. But he said, "I work with my hands. I create with my mind. And my mind needs silence." When the exhibition arrived, his work was praised for its clarity and originality. When asked how he achieved it, he smiled and said, "My ideas didn't come from noise. They arrived in quiet." Silence didn't slow him down. It guided him forward. Ask yourself. Think about your life right now. How often do you pause before reacting? Do you give yourself time to think before speaking? Before making big decisions? Ask yourself, do I create space in my day for silence? Am I reacting or am I responding? What decisions have I rushed? What would change if I gave myself 5 minutes of silence before acting? Sometimes the smartest thing you can do is nothing for a moment. Stillness is strength. We often think strength is shown through action. But real strength also shows up through stillness. The courage to wait. The wisdom to listen. The patience to let clarity arrive. Silence doesn't mean weakness. It means you are gathering your strength. It means you are stepping back to see the full picture. It means your next move will be deliberate, not desperate. Silence is not a pause from life. It is part of life. Smooth transition to Chapter 3. In the next chapter, we'll explore how silence heals us from emotional pain, how it helps us process what we've been carrying inside, and how reflection can turn wounds into wisdom. When you're ready, let's continue. What we carry inside. Everyone carries something inside. A memory, a worry, a loss, a regret. Most of the time, we don't talk about it. We move on with our day, we smile, we work, we act like everything is fine. But sometimes, at the end of the day, when things get quiet, the feelings come back. Silence can feel heavy when there's pain inside. But it can also be the place where healing begins. The truth is, noise often helps us escape our emotions. Silence helps us face them. And when we finally face them, we can begin to let them go. Reflection turns pain into understanding. Pain has a voice. It doesn't always speak loudly, but it waits. It waits for a quiet moment to be heard. That's why silence can feel uncomfortable. But if we stay present instead of running away, we begin to understand our emotions instead of being controlled by them. Reflection is not overthinking. It is listening. Listening without judgment. Listening without fear. Listening with kindness. When we reflect, we create space between emotion and response. And in that space, healing begins. The unsent letter. There was a young woman who carried anger for years. She never spoke about it, but she felt it every day. One day, her therapist asked her to do something simple, write a letter to the person who hurt her. Not to send it. Just to write it. She sat alone in her room for an hour. No music, no phone, no distractions. Just silence and paper. As she began writing, tears came, not from weakness, but from release. She wrote everything she never said out loud. Every line felt like a weight lifted. She didn't send the letter. She didn't need to. She had finally spoken to herself. Later, she said, "I didn't forgive him that day. I forgave myself for holding the pain for too long." That moment of silence didn't hurt her. It helped her heal. Questions to ask yourself. If you've been carrying something inside, maybe it's time to pause and listen. Consider these questions. What pain have I been avoiding? What memory keeps returning when everything gets quiet? What am I holding on to that I no longer need? If I could speak honestly to myself, what would I say? Sit with these questions. Not to overthink, but to understand. Because healing doesn't always begin with answers. It sometimes begins with honesty. Silence allows the heart to breathe. We often think healing is dramatic, like a big breakthrough or emotional moment. But sometimes, healing is quiet. It's a sigh. A peaceful morning. A letter never sent. A moment alone when you finally feel lighter than before. Silence gives us room to breathe. Room to feel. Room to grow. You don't have to rush your healing. You don't have to explain it. You just have to allow it. Gentle progress is still progress. Smooth transition to Chapter 4. In the next chapter, we'll explore how to bring silence and reflection into daily life, even when things are busy. Simple practices, calm rituals, and small changes that can help your mind and heart feel clearer every day. When you're ready, we'll begin the final chapter. Bringing silence into daily life. Silence should not be something we visit only when life becomes too heavy. It can be part of our everyday routine, like drinking water or taking a walk. Just a few quiet moments each day can change how we think, react, and feel. Reflection strengthens the mind the same way exercise strengthens the body. With time and consistency, quiet becomes clarity, and clarity becomes confidence. Silence is not hiding from life. It is preparing for it. Simple practices to invite silence. You don't need a mountain retreat or a long vacation to find silence. You can bring it into your regular day through small habits. Here are a few. 1. The 5-minute pause. Before starting your day, or before making a decision, stop for just 5 minutes. No phone. No talking. Just breathing. You'd be surprised how much your mind clears when you simply pause. 2. Silent walks. Go for a walk without music or distractions. Listen to your footsteps. Feel the air. Notice the world around you. You don't have to meditate. Just walk, slowly and with presence. 3. Evening reflection. Before bed, ask yourself, what did I learn today? You don't need a notebook. Just 1 minute of reflection can shift your mood, reduce stress, and help your mind settle before sleep. 4. Digital quiet time. Choose 1 hour a day when your phone stays silent. No notifications. No scrolling. Try it for a week, notice how much mental energy returns. 5. Speak less, listen more. In conversations, try pausing before responding. It makes your words more thoughtful and your relationships stronger. Quiet habits build strong minds. The musician's lesson. A famous pianist was once asked, "What makes your music so powerful?" He replied, "The notes are important, but the pauses between them give the music meaning." Life works the same way. Without pauses, everything blends together. We need quiet to understand what matters. We need stillness to feel alive. Many people think they need more time. But often, what they really need is more silence. What will you choose? Ask yourself, do I give myself space to think? Am I living reactively or intentionally? What is one quiet habit I can start today? What truth have I been too busy to hear? Maybe answers aren't missing. Maybe they are waiting for you in silence. Quiet doesn't make you soft, it makes you wise. You don't have to raise your voice to show your strength. Sometimes strength sits quietly and listens. Sometimes wisdom comes when nobody is around to hear it. Silence won't solve every problem, but it often shows us where to begin. So the next time life feels chaotic, remember, you already have the tool to find balance. Close your eyes. Take 1 breath. Let silence do its work. Thank you for joining this quiet journey. Until next time, take care of your mind, your heart, and the space between your thoughts.